Your life can look full from the outside and still feel strangely empty on the inside. In Japan, many people describe that missing piece with one word: Ikigai, the reason that quietly pulls you out of bed in the morning and makes your day feel worth living. In this video, you're going to discover 7 Japanese Ikigai habits that can help you bring purpose back into your everyday life, step by step, without needing to quit your job or move to Japan. Your schedule is packed, your phone never stops, and yet, when everything finally goes quiet, there is that question: is this really it? That gap between what you do all day and what actually matters to you is one of the clearest signs that your sense of purpose has been pushed aside, even if your life looks successful from the outside. In Japan, this feeling is not ignored. It is often seen as a signal that your Ikigai, your reason for being, needs attention. The truth is, emptiness rarely comes from doing too little. It comes from doing a lot of things that do not feel connected to who you are. You can work hard, hit goals, and still feel like you're walking on a treadmill instead of moving towards something meaningful. When that happens, it's not a sign that you are broken. It's a sign that your inner compass is asking for direction. Japanese culture offers a different lens. Instead of chasing constant excitement, people are encouraged to notice the quiet dissatisfaction and use it as a starting point. That discomfort becomes a doorway, not an enemy. From there, small changes in habits, relationships, and attention can slowly realign your days with what feels truly alive inside you. Before we go deeper into the Japanese concept of Ikigai, hit the subscribe button so you do not miss the next videos on Japanese habits, purpose, and a calmer, more meaningful life. Stay until the end of this video because one of the last habits is the one most people never hear about, but it can change your daily routine completely. Ikigai is often translated as reason for being, but the Japanese understanding is much more grounded and less dramatic than the Western version. It's not about discovering one huge life mission or a perfect job that magically solves everything. Instead, Ikigai is about the small combination of what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs around you, and what can sustain your life, all expressed in ordinary moments. In everyday Japan, someone's Ikigai might be taking care of a grandchild, working on a craft, helping neighbors, or simply tending a small garden every morning. It's not about fame, big achievements, or constant happiness. It's about feeling that your existence has a place and a role, even if nobody outside your circle notices. Purpose in this sense is quiet, local, and deeply personal. This perspective takes a lot of pressure off. You don't need to find your passion once and never change again. Your Ikigai can evolve with your age, health, relationships, and circumstances. What matters is that at each stage of life, there is at least one thing that gives you a sense of meaning, contribution, and continuity. That's what the habits in this video are designed to strengthen. One core Japanese habit that supports Ikigai is starting small, so small that it almost feels too easy. Instead of focusing on huge transformations, many people in Japan build change through small, consistent actions that fit naturally into their day. A few minutes of practice, a short walk, one page written, one small act of kindness, those micro steps slowly create a life that feels more aligned with purpose.
This approach reduces resistance because your brain is not terrified by the size of the goal. You do not need to become a different person overnight, you just need to take one gentle step in the direction of what matters. Over time, these tiny habits compound. A simple morning routine, a daily focus ritual, or a few moments of reflection can shift your trajectory more than a burst of motivation that dies after 3 days. In the context of Ikigai, starting small means asking simple questions. What is one thing today that makes me feel a little more alive? What is one action that serves someone else? What is one step toward a skill I care about? When you repeat those micro steps every day, your sense of purpose stops being a theory and becomes part of your muscle memory. In many Western cultures, routine chores are seen as annoying tasks to get out of the way. In Japanese daily life, there is a strong tendency to transform those same chores into mindful rituals. Cleaning a room, preparing tea, arranging objects, or cooking a simple meal can all be done with care, presence, and attention to detail. turning boring tasks into anchors of meaning. This habit is connected to the idea that purpose does not live only in big decisions, but also in how you show up for the small ones. When you clean, you are not just moving dust, you are taking care of your space. When you prepare a meal, you are not just feeding the body, you are honoring your health and maybe the people you share it with. That subtle mindset shift turns a life full of errands into a life full of intentional moments. By treating routine as ritual, Japanese culture reinforces a feeling of dignity and care in the everyday. You can bring this into your own life by choosing one daily task and doing it with full presence. No rush, no multitasking, just quiet attention. Over time, this practice makes your day feel less fragmented and more coherent, as if every action is part of a larger story you are consciously writing. In Okinawa and other parts of Japan, there is a tradition called moai, a small, stable group of people who regularly support each other financially, emotionally, and socially throughout life. This is not just a casual friend group. It is a long-term circle of trust that acts as a safety net when times get hard. Having a moai means you are not carrying your worries and dreams alone. For Ikigai, community is not a bonus. It is a core ingredient. People who feel they belong somewhere, who are seen and supported, tend to hold on to their sense of purpose even during illness, loss, or financial stress. They know that their life matters to others and that they also have a role in lifting those around them. This mutual dependence strengthens motivation to keep going. You can apply this idea by intentionally choosing a small group of people to grow with, not just to hang out, but to talk about goals, fears, and meaning. Regular conversations where you share what you are working on, what you are struggling with, and how you want to contribute can act like a modern version of moai. Your purpose becomes more resilient when it is held in a circle, not just in your head.
Hara hachibu is a Japanese expression that means eat until you are about 80% full. In practice, it is a habit of stopping earlier than your maximum capacity, leaving a small margin instead of pushing to the limit. This principle, especially famous in Okinawa, is associated with healthier bodies and longer lives. But beyond food, hara hachibu can be seen as a way to live with balance. Instead of constantly exhausting yourself with work, social media, commitments, and tasks, you leave space to breathe, space to reflect, space to notice what really matters. That margin protects your energy so you can invest it in what is truly connected to your Ikigai. If you are always running at 100% or more, purpose becomes blurry because you are simply too tired to feel anything clearly. Adopting a stop at 80% mindset might mean saying no a little more often, finishing your workday slightly earlier, or taking short breaks before you feel completely drained. This habit keeps you available for the activities and relationships that give your life meaning. Okinawa, a Japanese island group, is famous for having many people who live to very advanced ages while staying active, socially engaged, and mentally sharp. Researchers often point not only to diet and lifestyle, but also to Ikigai, the sense that life has a reason and that each person still has a role to play, even in old age. Purpose is treated as a health factor, not just a nice idea. Older adults in Okinawa tend to keep contributing to their communities, gardening, cooking, helping with grandchildren, teaching traditional skills, or taking part in local events. They rarely retire from life itself. This ongoing sense of usefulness appears to be strongly linked to better well-being, lower rates of certain mental health issues, and a more positive view of aging. The lesson here is powerful. You do not need to wait for retirement to think about meaning, and you do not need to stop contributing just because you are older. Ikigai protects your health by giving you a reason to move, to connect, and to care at every stage of life. When you design your habits with this in mind, you are not just adding years to your life, you are adding life to your years. A common Western message is, find what you love and do only that. But the Japanese view of Ikigai usually includes something more, serving beyond yourself. Purpose is often found where your personal interests meet the needs of other people, your family, your community, your clients, your students, even strangers. That connection between your joy and someone else's benefit creates a deeper kind of satisfaction. When your actions help others by teaching, creating, listening, building, caring, or solving problems, you feel that your existence has weight in the world. This does not have to happen on a big stage. A quiet, reliable presence in your family, workplace, or neighborhood can be just as meaningful as a visible, glamorous role. The key is the feeling that your daily efforts make a real difference to someone.
If you are feeling lost, a powerful question is, who becomes a little better, calmer, or happier because I am here? Even small answers to that question can point you toward habits and projects that resonate with your Ikigai. Over time, a life of service does not erase your individuality. It actually reveals the unique way you are meant to contribute. If this idea of living with more purpose is resonating with you, check out one of the videos recommended here on the screen about Japanese habits and emotional balance. Watch it after this one to go even deeper into building a calmer, more intentional life grounded in these timeless principles. In many parts of Japan, walking in silence, sitting quietly in a park, or simply observing nature are common ways to reset the mind. These moments of stillness are not wasted time. They are spaces where you can finally hear your own thoughts without the noise of constant information. In that quiet, many people reconnect with their Ikigai. When you are surrounded by interruptions, your attention is constantly pulled outside, and it becomes difficult to notice what your inner voice is actually saying. Silence creates a kind of mental room where deeper questions can arise. What do I really care about? What am I afraid of changing? What would I regret not doing? These questions are uncomfortable, but they are also the doorway to clarity. You can borrow this Japanese habit by taking regular Ikigai walks. Short walks without headphones, notifications, or distractions. During these walks, let your thoughts wander and see what patterns come up. Over time, you may notice recurring themes. People you want to help, skills you want to develop, parts of yourself you want to bring back. That is your inner Ikigai trying to speak. Japan is known for intense work culture and long hours, but it is also a place where people are increasingly rethinking the role of work in a meaningful life. Many are starting to separate job from Ikigai, understanding that your purpose does not have to be the same as your salary source. Your job can be one expression of your Ikigai, but it does not need to carry the entire weight of your identity. For some, Ikigai might be found partly at work, in the way they help clients, lead teams, or solve problems. For others, their job is simply a platform that funds the activities that truly feel purposeful. Art, volunteering, parenting, community projects, or personal studies. Recognizing this difference reduces frustration and lets you design your life more realistically. The Japanese lesson is that balance comes from not fusing your entire self-worth with your job title. You can honor your responsibilities, be professional and reliable, while still protecting time and energy for the habits and relationships that actually make you feel alive. When you stop demanding that your job be your entire purpose, you open space for a wider, more stable sense of Ikigai.
A powerful habit inspired by Japanese reflection practices is keeping an Ikigai journal. This is not a complex system. It can be a simple notebook where, every day, you answer a few short questions. For example, what gave me a sense of meaning today? Who did I help? What tiny action brought me joy or peace? What felt empty or draining? Writing these answers forces you to slow down and observe your own life with more clarity. Over days and weeks, patterns start to emerge. You notice which activities consistently light you up, which people energize you, and which environments leave you feeling disconnected. This awareness is essential, because you cannot live your Ikigai if you do not first see where it is already trying to show up. The journal also becomes a powerful tool in difficult times. When you feel lost, you can look back over your notes and see the threads of meaning that have been present all along, even when you were too stressed to notice. This record reminds you that purpose is not something you suddenly discover. It is something you gradually uncover by paying attention to your own experience. In the last decades, researchers in Japan have studied the connection between Ikigai and health. What they have found is striking. People who report having a clear sense of purpose tend, on average, to experience better mental well-being, lower levels of certain psychological symptoms, and a lower risk of some physical health problems over time. Purpose is acting almost like an invisible protective factor. One reason for this is behavioral. When people feel their life has meaning, they are more likely to take care of their bodies, maintain social connections, and keep a regular routine, all of which support health. But there is also an emotional side. Ikigai can help buffer stress, reduce feelings of hopelessness, and give people a reason to keep going even during illness or loss. That resilience has real biological consequences. This does not mean that purpose is a magic shield against all disease or pain, but it does suggest that working on your Ikigai is not just a philosophical project, it is also a practical investment in your long-term well-being. When you cultivate habits that strengthen your sense of meaning, you are taking care of both your soul and your body at the same time. Behind all these Japanese Ikigai habits, there is a seventh, quieter habit that holds them together, a daily inner commitment. It is the decision, renewed each day, to live just a little more in line with what matters, instead of living only on autopilot. This promise is not dramatic, it is gentle but persistent. In practice, this means asking yourself every morning or night, what is one small thing I can do tomorrow that honors my Ikigai? Sometimes the answer is taking care of your health. Sometimes it is reaching out to someone. Sometimes it is working on a skill or project that expresses who you are. The important thing is that you keep that promise alive through action, not just intention. Over months and years, this quiet daily commitment shapes your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone drifting through life and start seeing yourself as someone who actively participates in creating a meaningful existence. This shift does not require a perfect plan. It requires consistency in honoring that inner promise, even on days when motivation is low.
At this point, you have seen that Ikigai is not a mystical secret reserved for monks or for people living in a Japanese village. It is built through habits, small steps, meaningful rituals, supportive communities, balanced limits, quiet reflection, and service to something beyond yourself. You can bring all of these into your current life exactly where you are. Start with 1 or 2 habits from this video that resonated with you the most. Maybe it is the tiny daily step, the Ikigai walk in silence, the journal, or the idea of creating your own moai with a few close people. When you practice them consistently, your days begin to feel less random and more like part of a story that actually makes sense to you. You do not need to wait for a perfect moment to start living with more purpose. Ikigai grows inside the life you already have, not in some imaginary future. Every small choice you make this week can either feed that sense of meaning or starve it. And you are the only one who can decide which direction to take. If this video helped you see purpose and Japanese Ikigai habits in a new way, make sure to subscribe, like, and share it with someone who might be feeling lost right now. Your simple action can be the push they need to start rediscovering their own reason to get up in the morning. And there is much more coming on this channel to support you on that journey.